Hey Zen fam. So get this. A little bit of news for you, a little bit of weird sociology if you will. What's the thing you generally think of when you think of Japan? You generally tend to think of technology, yes. Sushi probably. Samurai, ninja, that sort of stuff. But one of the main things you think about when you think of Japan, the country, you think of a country that's socially got it sorted out. People generally there's a fairly low crime rate, there's a social order, there's a strong emphasis on honour and behaving the right way, it's very much a sort of unwritten social contract of how one comports oneself in one's daily life. That's generally how we in the West think of Japan. We think of it as a fairly orderly place. Well, not so at the moment. You know how we all heard recently that how Japanese gamers are falling out with love with the consoles, and they're more likely to buy the Nintendo Switch, and they're more likely to game on their phones and stuff. That's why the Vita was successful there, when in other countries it did somewhat flounder. Why the Game Boy was so successful, the GBA and the Switch and the Vita and the PSP, the Atari Lynx and the Sega Game Gear. All those have had better success there than they have here and in North America, and I believe the same for Australasia. If you go around Australia and New Zealand, I think it's a similar pattern. If I'm wrong, please typey down below. Teach me that I'm wrong, but always cite your source, because that's one thing I want people to do. If they're going to correct me, then I want evidence. Anyway, so apparently there's been a restocking of PlayStation 5 stock in Japan. A few places have been getting their restocking happen. We got a restock recently, but apparently it was all bought by bots again. Anyway, so the restocking in Japan, and my god, people went whoof right to the shops, crowded in there like cattle. It's just pushing and a shoving and a yelling, it's so the footage I saw, it was looking a bit violent. It wasn't great footage, so I thought I was going to put it behind me, but when I looked at it I thought, it doesn't look that good. And at one point you hear a bloke swearing in English, and I don't put swearing on this channel, and also I didn't know who owned the footage, so I wasn't entirely comfortable with putting it on the channel. I didn't want to get a copyright strike, and I certainly didn't want to get my video pulled for how I usually tend to title these videos and how I usually tend to classify these videos. So I've just stuck with a bit of Ghost of Tsushima. I think that's kept it fairly Japanese. So basically, a whole truckload of people basically turned up at a department store called Yodobashi Camera, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, to any Japanese people that happen to stumble across Zen bloke, and yeah, if I've got that wrong, I do beg your forgiveness. I've taken a good stab at that pronunciation from memory, so hopefully I've not made too much of a travesty of it. But Lord knows there's people all around the world that can't say the word Edinburgh, so we'll let bygones be bygones on that. Anyway, so a bunch of folk turned up to this, apparently it's like a big time electronics retailer. I think it's like their version of Curry's PC World, or Dixon's or whatever. So they all turn up and they all go, we're getting a PS5, we're getting a PS5, out the way, get it off the way. It's you just see staff members going, oh Jesus. It's they've all got their masks on, some of them have got their face shields and that, and there's big bits of plastic hanging down from the ceiling to try and sort of separate them and try to make sure that the contagions will spread about. And it's not working, is it, boys? It's you just see all these people crammed into the shop, no queuing, nothing, just pushing and shoving and jockeying for position, and shouts going out, that I obviously can't understand, but I think it's probably spread out the Japanese for out my way, yeah. It's like, get it! And it's just like, oh my god. So the idea that A, the Japanese are all about that social contract, out the window. The idea that B, the Japanese are falling out in love with console gaming, and that Sony has lost its position in Japan, out the window. Ooh, it seems that Japan is very much still in love with PlayStation, and gamers over there are still very much in love with PlayStation. And now that I'm seeing myself in this video, I really need to do something about this. This is getting a bit beyond the joke. Okay guys, I just wanted to bring that little sort of newsy type tidbit to your attention. Apparently PlayStation 5s are doing quite nicely in Japan, but much like anywhere else, only if you can actually get your hands on it. Okay guys, love you big time. See you in the next video. Hashtag support Scottish YouTubers, and of course, as always, I nae bother.